The vastness of space stretched endlessly as the Galactic Empire's mighty flagship, the Sovereign, emerged at the edge of the Milky Way, its massive hull gleaming coldly under distant stars. Supreme Commander Vorath stood rigid on the command deck, his eyes fixed on the blue and green planet below. Earth, home to a species the Empire had recently discovered. The Empire had expected to meet a primitive race, one that would quickly understand their place in the grand order of the galaxy and submit without question. Instead, what awaited them was something entirely different, something no Imperial officer had prepared for. As the Sovereign slowly moved into orbit, a small group of humans could be seen floating casually outside their own simple spacecraft, laughing and chatting as if they were at a social gathering rather than facing a colossal fleet designed to subdue worlds. The humans' relaxed attitude sent a wave of disbelief through the Empire's officers. They were not trembling in fear or sending desperate messages begging for mercy. Instead, they cracked jokes, tossed around banter, and waved at the Empire's ships as if they were traffic cones in a parking lot. Supreme Commander Vorath clenched his fists, struggling to maintain his strict composure. How could these beings be so carefree when confronted with such overwhelming power? His voice, calm but firm, ordered his officers to prepare the formal greeting, expecting that the humans would finally realize the seriousness of the moment. But even as the Empire's delegation transmitted their carefully crafted message of dominance and inevitable submission, the humans responded with laughter and sarcastic comments that echoed through the communication channels, turning what was supposed to be a display of Imperial might into a bizarre comedy. The Sovereign's crew exchanged uneasy glances, unsure whether to be angered or confused. One junior officer whispered to another, "Are they mocking us?" But the humans seemed genuinely amused, not hostile, as they floated effortlessly near, their modest space station, pointing at the Empire's ships and making playful gestures. For Vorath, this was a puzzle that went beyond any military strategy he had ever studied. The pride of the Galactic Empire was being treated like a minor inconvenience, dismissed with humor and a casual wave. This strange behavior planted a seed of doubt and frustration in his mind. Was this species truly as primitive as his advisors claimed, or did their laughter hide a secret strength? Despite the growing irritation, Vorath maintained his role, determined to assert control over this unexpected first contact. Still, as the moments passed and the humans continued their carefree antics, the commander could not shake the feeling that the situation was slipping beyond his control, that the laughter he heard was not a sign of weakness, but a challenge waiting to be met. The silence on the bridge was thick, broken only by the soft hum of the ship's engines as the Sovereign hovered in orbit, watching, waiting, and trying to understand a species that refused to bow down but instead chose to laugh in the face of an empire. Inside the cold, shining halls of the Sovereign, the Galactic Empire's diplomats prepared for what they expected to be a straightforward negotiation, an opportunity to show their power and demand complete submission from the human representatives. But from the moment the humans arrived, the atmosphere shifted. Unlike other species the Empire had faced, these humans did not respond with fear or hesitation. Instead, they brought with them a strange energy filled with humor and defiance, leaving the Empire's officers struggling to maintain their usual air of control. The human delegation was led by Captain Jane Vega, a woman with sharp eyes and a quick smile, who seemed to understand the gravity of the situation, but refused to be cowed by the Empire's towering presence. As the Empire's diplomats began to speak in formal, threatening tones demanding resources, territory, and loyalty, the humans responded not with silence or submission, but with witty remarks that caught their hosts off guard. Where the Empire expected anger or confusion, it found laughter and clever wordplay. When an Imperial envoy laid out harsh ultimatums, Captain Vega coolly countered with a challenge to a game of chance, suggesting that the outcome could determine the future of their two civilizations. This unexpected move startled the Imperial delegation, unused to seeing diplomacy mixed with what seemed like playfulness. What followed was a series of challenges, physical contests, puzzles, and games that pushed the limits of logic and creativity. Captain Vega's confidence never faltered as she navigated the strange customs of the Empire, using humor to ease tension and win respect. The Empire's officers watched, some fascinated and others frustrated, as the humans turned the negotiations into something almost like a performance, a demonstration of their unique spirit and resilience. It became clear that the humans did not fear the Empire's power. Instead, they met it with a boldness that challenged every assumption the Empire held about strength and weakness. In moments when the negotiations seemed on the verge of collapse, Captain Vega's sharp wit and calm demeanor brought everyone back to the table, turning potential conflict into an unexpected dance of words and ideas. The Empire's leaders were forced to reconsider their approach, realizing that these humans were not just a simple species to be conquered, but a new kind of force, unpredictable, clever, and unafraid to laugh in the face of danger. Suspense grew with every interaction, as the Empire's diplomats struggled to decode the humans' humor and resilience. What did it mean for the future? Would this defiance lead to war, or could it spark a new form of respect and understanding? The answers remained uncertain, hanging in the charged silence between every game played and every joke shared on the Sovereign, where two very different worlds met not with fear and submission, but with laughter and challenge. The Galactic Empire had long relied on its vast technology and enormous military might to maintain control over countless star systems, confident that no force could outmatch their precision and power. Yet, as the Sovereign remained in orbit above Earth, the Empire's commanders began to notice something unsettling about the humans. They were unlike any species the Empire had encountered before. These humans thrived on unpredictability, creativity, and a kind of playful defiance that threw every imperial plan into chaos. When the Empire arranged a grand demonstration of their power, a carefully choreographed display of weapons and strength meant to intimidate the humans, the response was not fear or surrender, but a burst of unexpected ingenuity that left the Sovereign's crew scrambling. A specially trained human unit, known for their quick thinking and teamwork, launched what seemed at first to be a simple mock invasion aboard the Sovereign, but it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary exercise. The humans infiltrated the ship using unorthodox methods, disguises, improvised gadgets, and humor as a weapon, and turned the ship's sterile halls into a chaotic playground. They disabled security systems with clever tricks, outmaneuvered patrols with fast-paced games of tag and hide-and-seek, and even broadcasted playful messages across the ship's communication channels, poking fun at the Empire's strict discipline. The officers and crew of the Sovereign, accustomed to rigid order and control, found themselves losing their grip on authority as laughter and confusion spread through the corridors. What had been a carefully controlled environment became a stage for human creativity and teamwork, exposing weaknesses in the Empire's assumptions about power and control. Supreme Commander Vorath watched from the command deck, frustration growing as his most trusted soldiers fell victim to this strange kind of assault that used humor and surprise instead of brute force. Yet beneath the annoyance, a reluctant respect began to form. The humans' ability to adapt quickly, work together, and use unexpected tactics made them unpredictable and difficult to defeat. It became clear that their strength was not just in their technology or weapons, but in their spirit, their refusal to be boxed in by fear or rules. This realization shook the confidence of the Empire's leadership, who had always believed that order and strength would be enough to bring any species to heel. Now, faced with the chaos the humans created on their own ship, they understood that this encounter was more than a battle for dominance. It was a test of wits, resilience, and the power of the human mind. The tension aboard the Sovereign was palpable, as officers struggled to regain control and prevent the humans from completely disrupting their mission. But despite their efforts, the humans' unexpected advantage held strong, leaving the Empire to reconsider what it truly meant to be powerful in a universe filled with surprises. With every passing hour, the humans proved that laughter, creativity, and teamwork could be as effective as any weapon, turning the tide of first contact and setting the stage for a future where the rules of engagement might be rewritten forever. Inside the towering command chambers of the Galactic Empire, tension simmered beneath the polished surfaces and strict protocols as the leadership grappled with an unexpected problem: how to deal with the humans who had turned their plans upside down. Some of the highest-ranking commanders, fueled by frustration and wounded pride, demanded swift and decisive action to crush what they called the insolent humans, before their defiance spread further and weakened the Empire's authority. These voices called for overwhelming force, a demonstration that would remind the humans of the true power the Empire held and restore order with an iron grip. But others, more cautious and curious, urged a different path. They argued that the humans' unusual behavior, marked by humor, creativity, and unpredictability, might hold a kind of wisdom the Empire had never considered. This faction believed the humans' unorthodox methods and resilience could be more than a challenge. They might be an opportunity for growth and learning. Supreme Commander Vorath found himself caught between these conflicting views, his own pride warring with a growing recognition that the situation required careful handling. The mounting pressure forced him into a situation no commander expected, to meet face-to-face with the human representatives in what was intended as a final, humiliating truce meeting. As the humans entered the chamber, led again by Captain Jane Vega, their demeanor was calm but bold, their presence commanding attention without a hint of fear or submission. Instead of demands or threats, the humans presented an unexpected proposal, not surrender or conquest, but a joint venture based on mutual respect, shared innovation, and collaboration. They spoke of combining the Empire's vast resources and experience with human creativity and resilience to explore new frontiers and solve challenges no single race could face alone. The idea was so foreign, so audacious, that it caused a ripple of shocked silence among the Empire's council. Supreme Commander Vorath struggled to mask his disbelief and skepticism, wondering if this was some trick or a sign of weakness. Yet, beneath his doubt, a spark of intrigue grew. What if this alliance could bring benefits the Empire had never imagined? Could this strange, unpredictable species be more than a nuisance? Could they become valuable partners instead of enemies? The atmosphere was thick with suspense as the council debated the proposal, balancing years of tradition and power against the promise of something new and unknown. Outside the chamber, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the choice that could reshape history. In this moment of uncertainty, the future hung by a thread, dependent on whether fear would rule or whether curiosity and respect could open the door to a new era where humans and the Galactic Empire might walk side by side, not as conqueror and conquered, but as allies facing the vast unknown together. After days of tense discussions and unexpected moments of laughter, the Galactic Empire and the humans reached an agreement that surprised many within the Empire's ranks. An alliance, born not from fear or force but from respect and a shared vision for the future. The humans, with their unpredictable spirit and lively humor, had challenged the rigid ways of the Empire and, in doing so, had opened a door that had seemed firmly closed for centuries. Slowly but surely, both sides began to learn from one another. The Empire's strict discipline and advanced technology, combined with human creativity and unconventional problem-solving, created a new energy, one that sparked innovation and hope across the galaxy. Within the halls of the Sovereign and in meeting rooms far beyond, human diplomats and imperial commanders exchanged ideas, laughter, and stories, breaking down old prejudices and discovering the power of collaboration. The Empire, once convinced that humans were a threat to be subdued, now saw them as invaluable allies, unpredictable, yes, but full of courage and cleverness that could change the course of galactic history. This partnership led to new projects and explorations, pushing boundaries in science, culture, and diplomacy. Humans introduced games and humor into imperial life, lightening the once solemn atmosphere, while learning from the Empire's vast experience and knowledge of the stars. As this new era unfolded, the galaxy itself seemed to respond, with distant worlds watching as two very different cultures joined forces rather than clashed. The final moments of this chapter hinted at the adventures yet to come, missions that would test the strength of their alliance and the power of laughter and courage in facing dangers unknown. The Sovereign now carried not just the weight of imperial command, but the hope of a future where cooperation and understanding might lead to peace and discovery. In this new galactic era, the humans and the Empire stood side by side, ready to meet the challenges ahead with a bold spirit and a shared smile, proving that even in the vastness of space, unity could shine brighter than any star. The uneasy alliance between humans and the Galactic Empire marked the beginning of something no one could have predicted. A new chapter in the history of the stars where two very different cultures learned to walk together. The humans, with their quick wit, laughter, and endless curiosity, brought a fresh breath of life to the Empire's strict and calculated world. They showed that strength was not only about power or control, but also about creativity and the courage to face the unknown with a smile. The Empire, once rigid and unyielding, began to change. Their grand halls echoed with laughter and new ideas, as humans and Imperials shared stories, traditions, and even games that broke down walls of suspicion. This unexpected friendship sparked discoveries that no single race could have achieved alone. Scientists and explorers worked side by side, combining human ingenuity with Imperial technology, opening doors to distant galaxies and secrets long hidden. Yet despite the progress, a quiet tension remained, a reminder that this alliance was still fragile and that the future held many unknown challenges. But the humans' resilience and humor continued to inspire, reminding everyone aboard the Sovereign and beyond that, even in the darkest corners of space, hope could shine through. As the stars stretched infinitely ahead, the galaxy watched with bated breath, eager to see how this strange and powerful union would shape the fate of all who called the cosmos home. In the end, it was not just the strength of fleets or weapons that would decide the future, but the laughter, courage, and unity born from two very different worlds learning to trust each other under the endless sky.